Good morning again. For the sake of recapping yesterday's class, yesterday we started Unit 8. Unit 8, it's introduction to applied research. Under introduction to applied research, we discussed yesterday the definition of research. The research is about researching. Searching the fact again and again to come to the conclusion. That is researching. Searching again and again to the fact. That is researching. That's what we studied yesterday. Then we discussed the research process. We discussed elaborately the research process which include the definition of the research problem, defining the research problem. That is the first and foremost important step. The area which you are going to study, that is the defining the research problem. So after defining the research problem, it's supposed to be review of literature. Review of literature, it includes, there are two areas: review of existing concepts and theories, then review of existing studies. What we are doing, these two process, we are going to find out the research gap. So the area which studied by different authors, you are going to list out based on your topic. Based on your topic, you are going to list out what are all the available informations were derived by different researchers. So you are going to find out which area is already studies were carried out, which area is missed by the researchers. That's what review of literature is saying. Once you finalize the review of literature, then you are moving to formulating your hypothesis based on the research gap you found. From that, you are going to make your hypothesis. Yesterday, I gave an example. People who are above 80. The initial studies came from China. It says people above 80 were vulnerable to coronavirus. But now that hypothesis is it's proved it's wrong. Now many people are affected less than the age below 60 also affected due to corona. So the hypothesis means you are assuming something. It is an assumption statement. So the assumption statement, you are going to make it after doing review of literature. Then this assumption statement is going to be in the end of the research. The assumption statement is going to be either proved right or wrong. That's what your research is going to do. Once you formulating your hypothesis, then you are going to design your research study. You're going to finalize your research designs. Research designs, there are 4 different types: descriptive, explorative, experimental research design, hypothetical research design. There are different types are there, but for applied research, we are using 4 different type of research designs. So this research designs which include designing the samples. So it includes designing the samples as well. Once you finalize research designs, then you are going to do the data collections. So collecting your data. Before collecting your data, you need to make your the data collection tools. For data collection tools, there are 2 types of data where you are going to collect. It depends upon your study objectives. Either you are going to collect qualitative or quantitative data. Based on the qualitative or quantitative, you are going to set your data collection instruments or data collection method. For example, if you are going to collect a data using a questionnaire, then it is going to be quantitative. So if you are going to seek information from respondents through interview, that is qualitative data collection. So based on your the objective of your study, you are going to choose either qualitative or quantitative. So once you finalize qualitative or quantitative, then you make your data collection instruments. Once you done the instruments, then you are going to make carried out actual data collection process from your respondents. Based on your sampling, you are going to do the actual research. Once you did your actual data collection, then you supposed to do data analysis. Data analysis, this is called data analysis and interpretations. Data analysis you are going to make, because whatever you are collecting from your respondent, that is called raw data. This raw data supposed to be converted as informations. For converting raw data into informations, this process is called analyzing the data. The analysis which include testing your hypothesis, the one you set it up in third stage, that is going to be tested in stage 6 during the analysis. So once you finalize the analysis, then you are going to do the interpretations. Interpretation mostly done to prove the theories or making a statement. If you are having a hypothesis, you are going to make it based on the hypothesis, you are going to make the statement. Or you don't have a hypothesis, you are just making a generalization, then you are using the theories or the definitions you are going to prove. That is called interpretations. So this entire process, it considered as a research process. Yesterday I told you the research process is very much important in terms of examinations. So you need to understand the research process right from the definition of the problem, defining the problem to interpretations. So this process from step 1 to step 7. Sometimes it may vary. So these steps you need to understand properly. So from my point of view, this is going to be the important area for examining you in terms of research. Now we were moving to the actual class today. So according to the research process, now I am going to take it to you for finalizing or selecting your research topic. Selection of research topic, it's supposed to be, or you can say selection of your research title. You assume yourself, you are not a student, you are a researcher. When you are doing a research, that time you are not a student, you are above the student. So here you are going to be the researcher. As a researcher, you are supposed to finalize your research title. So the title is the most important part in any research, and it should be informative one. The research title, it should be a self-explanatory one. So when someone is reading your research title, they should understand what you are trying to do. So the title is the most important part in any research, and it should be as informative as possible. So your title should reveal the exact point of your research. So my advice to you again, the title should not have no advantages. So you should not make long titles. You should make short titles. You should make title should be a short one. For example, it should be it should not more than 10 words. So you try to restrict yourself to making title. That time it's supposed to be less than 10 words. Then your title is supposed to reflective of your objectives. The title should reflect directly to your objectives. For example, if you want to study the impact of cholera in particular community, the title is supposed to say impact of cholera on marginalized community, or you can say impact of cholera among children. So it clearly says you are going to study the impact of cholera among children. It means 0 to 18. You are going to study the impact of cholera among children. So then your title should not start with the 2 or end with the question mark. If it starts with the 2, then it is going to be objective. If it is end with the question mark, then it is going to be article title. It is not a research title. It is going to be the article title. So when you are making a research title, you should concentrate. The title should not go a long one. It should be a short one. It must be less than 10 words. Then the objective, the title should carry, or title should reflect to your objectives. then you try to avoid abbreviations within the title. So it should not start with the to, or it should not end with the question marks. So these things you should carry in your mind when you are making your research title. Now we were moving to the next one. Next one, problem statement. This is very important. This is, as per the research process, this is going to be the first step. So problem statement, it's going to be the first step. When you are the problem statement, exactly it's going to carry what you wanted to study, what you wanted to know. So that is going to be your problem statement. The area which you don't know, that is the one you supposed to make it as a objective or problem statement. So when you are formulating a general topic into a specific research problem, for example, if you want to study the causes of corona, that maybe you can say, I wanted to study the corona issue. I wanted to study a corona issue, but it's a general topic. It's a general topic, but you need to narrow down your topic based on your agenda, based on your objective. You wanted to narrow down your topic. The corona is a general one, but you need to specify under corona issue which one you are going to study. Maybe you are a clinician. Maybe you can say finding the combination of drugs for corona patients. You wanted to find out the combination of drugs which gives desirable results. So you are going to find a combination of drugs for your corona patients. So for that, you need to know which combination you are going to do it. So for that, you are going to do some clinical trials. Clinical trials also considered as a research. So you are going to find out maybe combination A and combination B, which one is going to be best or appropriate one for your patients. So that is your topic. If you wanted to choose that one, find out appropriate drugs combination for your corona patients. So you are going to do, you need to understand each and every combination of drugs. You need to understand what is in it, what kind of doses you are going to apply. You need to understand. Then you need to rephrase. You need to apply in different contexts. I think this one will make confusion. I'm supposed to give exact one. When you have, for example, corona is a general issue, but if you wanted to specifically do some studies related to corona, for example, the paper which I wrote last week, social cost of corona, because I came from social work background, so I look at corona issue from my school of thought. So corona is a medical issue, but I look at corona from my background. So people who are affected, people who are affected due to clinically, people who are affected due to social cause, people who are affected due to psychological cause, different aspects of causing corona. But I give an importance on social cost. That's why I did my review study looking at the impact of corona on marginalized community with the perspective of social cost. So there is when you are formulating a general topic into a specific research problem, that constitute first step into a scientific inquiry. Corona is a general thing. Anyone can look at corona as an issue. But as a researcher, you're supposed to specify, you're supposed to come down, you're supposed to look at very deep within corona issue. If you are a clinical medicine student, how you are going to treat patients who are affected with the corona? What is the combination in it? So if you are looking at the second level of issue, second level of problem, then it is going to be a scientific way of looking the issue. So when there are two steps, you should not forget, there are two steps framing your problem statements. You should understand the problem thoroughly. You should understand the research problem thoroughly. You should understand each and every aspect of your research problem. Though you are going to study particular aspect, but you should know the macro level issue of your research problem. then you need to rephrase the same into a meaningful term from an analytical point of view. As I told you, Corona is a global issue, but I look at Corona with a social perspective. So you need to understand the issue of Corona, then you need to rephrase your objective directly where or what you wanted to study from that general issue. So when you are making a problem statement, you should understand the entire aspect of that particular problems, then you need to rephrase your objectives based on that problem. So this too, it's very important when you are making a problem statement and justifications. Any research, problem statement and justifications are very much important. This is the beginning of your researches. When you are writing a problem statement, you need to explain various causes, various dimensions, various consequences of particular problem statement. Then you need to justify why you are, what is the important for that particular study. So you are going to highlight the problems as well as justifications. Now we were moving to review of literature. Once you finalize your problem statement, you need to concentrate your review of literatures. Review of literature, I already explained to you that particular research problem, how other people were studied. The particular research problems, how analyzed by different researchers, different authors. So you are going to find out the missing area, or you can say in research terminology, you can say research gap. That's what you are going to do it. You are going to derive from your review of literature. So the main objective of doing review of literature is to identify the research gap. Identify the research gap. So the review of literature will justify the need of conducting the present study. The one you chosen. The review of literature will justify the need of conducting your study. From there only you are going to find out the research gap. The research gap is going to tell you this is the unknown area or unanswered area. That is the one you wanted to get answer. So review of literature will give justice to the need of conducting the present study. So when you are making a research study, when you are making a review of literature, the researcher should conclude the following point. What has been done so far in that particular area? The area in terms of, it's not only geographical area, it is about your research area. So what has been done so far in this area, in your research problem? What are all the effort or what are all the existing studies were carried out in that particular research problem? Where that study were done? Here, where means where that particular problems is affecting. Here it applies to geographical context. Then when it was done, either this study is done 10 years before or 20 years before. Then what methodology, how methodology wise the study is unique. What needs to be done? What kind of recommendations were derived from the existing studies? So these aspects were derived from different authors. For example, someone has studied teenage pregnancy. Teenage pregnancy is a long-term issue in Zambia. It's this issue identified by ministry for a long period of time. Many people who did the study. Maybe if you are doing teenage pregnancy this year, maybe you look at what are all the previous studies results were showing, what kind of solutions they are coming out, what is their new findings. So you are going to review the existing studies of studies done by previous authors, then where it was done, when it was done, how it was done, what needs to be done, what kind of suggestions they gave. So you are going to list out everything. When you list out everything, based on that, you are going to, as a researcher, you are going to identify the research gap. Maybe, for example, you can say, Trizen, find out this. Clement, find out this. Elizabeth, find out this. Katoyo, find out this. All these people I referred, found out these are all the areas. But these people were missed, this particular area. That is why I am chosen my research title as this title. So what you are going to say, your title is a unique, your title is not studied by anyone, your title is a fresh one, no one is studied earlier. That is why I am chosen this as my research title, because the research is means researching the fact. Researching the fact, you are proving particular thing, you are trying to know that particular thing. That's what research. The review of literature, when you are doing a review of literature, after that only you can able to finalize your research title. Tentative research title you can able to come up initially, but that tentative research title is going to be finalized after doing the review of literature. So I hope now you understand review of literature. For doing review of literature, you can refer abstracting and indexing journals and published or unpublished bibliographies. You can go for in a first place. First, you're supposed to refer the abstracting and indexing journals. Indexing journal means the journal is supposed to be a high quality. The journal is supposed to be academically accredited one. The journal is supposed to be referred by many people. The journal is supposed to be referred by many people. This kind of reliable source you need to choose. For your review of literature, you need to choose abstracting and indexing journals and published or unpublished work. By unpublished bibliographies, you should go and refer. This abstracting and indexing journals, you can get it from academic journals, conference proceedings, government report, books. You can tap your resources. So these are all reliable sources. You can go for your studies. So now we were moving to objective of setting the objective for your research. If you want to gain familiarity with a particular phenomena or you wanted to achieve a new insights. So it means if you to gain familiarity with a particular phenomena or to achieve new insights into it, then this kind of study it's considered as a explorative or formative research. For example, the corona is affecting the Lusaka and Kafue is a two different hotspots. Maybe you can say Kafue, most of the Kafue patients were affected with what kind of corona cell, what kind of corona infections they are affecting, whether they are affecting with the T cells, whether they are affecting with the L cells. So which corona, which virus is affecting Lusaka patients, which virus is affecting, maybe for example, which virus is affecting Zambian patients, which virus is affecting South Africans. If you want to do a basic research, or you can say formulative research, explorative or formulative research, it is about to gain familiarity with the new phenomena or achieving new insight into that. So it's when you're doing a pure science research, there is a theory, you wanted to build that theory further, then you are going to choose this kind of questions to gain familiarity with the particular phenomena or achieve new insight into the existing phenomena. You can do your research. Then to portray accurately the characteristics of particular individuals, situations or group, that's the second objective. Someone is saying relevant informations, but from your study you wanted to do accurate informations. If you wanted to say to portray accurately the characteristics of particular individual or situations or a group, then this kind of studies, it's known as descriptive study. The first one, gaining familiarity with a particular phenomena, it is going to be explorative. Getting accurate informations, accuracy of the information, it is going to be descriptive. Then to determine the frequency with which something occurs or with which it's associated with something else, then this kind of study is going to be known as diagnostic study, because you are determining cholera is happened due to this source. You are confining with you are determining something. Cholera is happened because of mosquito bite or something else. Cholera is happened because of open drainage or something else. You are trying to determine your factors. Then the fourth one, to test the hypothesis of causal relationship between different variables. That is hypothesis based research. So there are different objectives are there, but generally there are 4 objectives for any applied research. One is to gain familiarity with a particular phenomena or achieve new insights. That is called explorative study, because you are exploring new fact. You are exploring the new fact or constructing new knowledge. The second one, you are portray accurately the particular characteristics of individual situations or group. You are giving accurate information. You are getting accurate information. This is called descriptive research. Then you are determining the frequency of particular disease or frequency of particular health incidents. That is going to be diagnostic research. Then you are testing hypothesis of causal relationship between different variables. That is called hypothetical research. So now we are moving to hypothesis, development of working hypothesis. I already told you, hypothesis means it's an assumption statement. It is an assumption statement made in order to draw out and test its logical and empirical consequences. So hypothesis is an assumption statement made in order to draw out or test its logical or empirical consequences. You are assuming something, whether it sometimes this may be happening or this may not happening, but you are assuming this is going to happen because of these reasons. That is called hypothesis. This hypothesis should be very specific and limited to the piece of research work in hands, because you are the one going to do. So you are the one going to test the hypothesis. So this hypothesis should be very specific and limited to the piece of your research knowledge. So because you are the one going to test, you should not set the hypothesis in a bigger manner. You try to set your hypothesis which can be easily tested. So the role of hypothesis is to guide the researcher by delimiting the areas of research and keep him in a right track. So the hypothesis always insisting you to go in a right track. It sharpens his thinking and focuses attention on more important facets of the problems. So hypothesis is always directing you to seek particular informations. It is not allowing the researcher to go behind the research objectives. It also indicates the type of data required and the type of methods of data analysis to be used. The hypothesis will tell us, our hypothesis will support us to what kind of data you need to collect. It will give us directions and also type of analysis you need to imply. That one also you are going to get it from your hypothesis. The next one, we are moving to variables. When you are doing a research, especially when you are doing analytical research, you are determining two different factors. The variables are playing major roles. Before going to see variables, you need to understand what is variables. A variable is an entity that can take and different values. That can take different values. For example, male, female. Male and female, two different entities. Male, they have different futures. Female, they have different futures. But when you are saying gender, both of them are same. Gender is a variable. Within gender, you have different variables, male and female. A variable is any entity that can take on different values. Anything that can vary can be considered as a variable. Anything can be differentiating. In terms of money, maybe he is getting high salary, he is getting low salary. So income, you can take it as a variable. Age, you can take it as a variable. Gender, you can take it as a variable. Sex, you can take it as a variable. So variable means it gives different values to each of your characters. So variable means it's a different values. Gender, age, income, sex, these are all the variables. So a variable is a concept or abstract idea that can be described in measurable terms. So your variable will give you a measurable terms. For example, you are asking someone gender. Are you a male or female? Someone is say I am male. It means he is different from female. So you can able to measure how many male in that particular group. Maybe you can say raise your hands, those who are male. Maybe out of 20, 10 people are saying I am male. Then you are able to measure how many male genders are sitting in your classroom. So a variable is a concept or abstract idea that can be described in a measurable term. In research, this term refers to measurable characters in terms of quality, in terms of traits or attributes of a particular individual, object situation is being studied. These things can be measured using different variables. Maybe, for example, qualities. Those who are you can say those who are studying good or those who are taking good marks above out of 100, those who are taking 90s, more than 90s, we are giving A plus. Those who are taking less than 90s, we are giving A. Those who are taking below 60s, we are giving different distinctions. So when you are segregating someone based on the qualities, you are measuring someone's quality. So these variables are properties or characteristics of some events, objects, or a person that can take different values of amounts. So now I hope you understand variable means it's a different value. You are making value to different personalities, different characters, different triads, different attitudes, objects, situations. You are going to make different values. So variables are playing major role in a research context. Within variable, there are three different variables are there. One is independent variable, another one is dependent variables. Independent variable means independent variables are variables which are manipulated or controlled or changed. So independent variable, it's a standalone variable, but you can able to manipulate by using your independent variable. You can able to manipulate and control the group. For example, a study of the effect of teachers prize on the reading achievement of second graders. The researcher cannot manipulate gender, but can classify the children according to the gender. Gender, you cannot able to manipulate gender because the gender is a independent variable. You cannot change the gender. But you can able to classify your children according to the gender. So you can able to manipulate. You cannot able to change because it is a independent. Gender is an independent variable. You cannot able to make any changes in gender. But using gender, you can able to classify your children. Using gender, you can able to classify your children according to their gender. The dependent variable are the outcome variables and are the variables are which we calculate statistically. For example, income, it's a dependent variable. I am getting this much salary. My monthly salary is this. Someone's monthly salary is this much, but we have differences. These differences were happen because of my educational background, my experience. My educational background, my experience will bring much more salary than someone else. So salary or income is going to be dependent variable. Someone is getting more than others. It is because of their experience in that particular work, or because of their educational qualifications they are getting more. So the income, it is going to be dependent. When your income is going to be ordered with the education, then it is going to make sense. So the dependent variable, it will act together with the other variables. It is not a standalone, it is work together with the others. I hope you understand independent and dependent. I'm giving you an example for dependent variable. A study of the effect of teacher's price